Hello. Bit of a different video from me today, but I really wanted to explain why sewing is a form of resistance and rebellion. And if you're thinking about sewing, then now is the most perfect time to start. It's no secret that the world is on fire right now. And I don't mean to laugh because it's not laughable, but it's more in shock that this is such a dystopian world that we're in right now. I mean, you've got leaders that care more about greed and hoarding wealth than they do about people. You've got genocides happening. The climate change is just getting out of control. Have you ever seen those memes where it's like that dog and the world, like his room is on fire and he just goes, "Everything is fine"? That's how I've been feeling. There's even like a crafty one that's going about and it's like the world is on fire again and someone says, "But hey, look at my new dress that I made." And that is how I feel. And I no doubt many people feel. But I'm not going to sit and do nothing about it. I'm going to channel it into a resistant, radical movement. And I think it's really easy going into like a helpless doom bubble, which I would say that has like been on my mind. But I came across two things that said the word rebellion, and for some reason something just clicked and I thought, that's it. I am going to see sewing as a form of rebellion. And I don't know, I feel like it's really like changed my outlook and has made me angry and want to take action. So I'm going to try and explain this better. I'm like known for not being very good at explaining things, but I have actually written things down. So I'm hoping my point gets across to you guys. I'm putting the tea down. We mean business. So I was having one of those days and I was just clicking through, going on social media, probably doom scrolling and procrastinating because that's what I do. And I think I seen a TikTok of a guy saying that he thinks the world is meaningless and things like that. And then someone mentioned the word absurdism, which is the philosophy that, yes, the world is meaningless, but that should be the reason why you should find joy in things. And on that day, I ended up printing 4 pages of quotes from Albert Camus. I think I'm saying that name right. And he was the guy that I think coined absurdism. And one of the quotes was, "The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion." There was something about that quote that just really struck out to me. And not only that, I was on Instagram and Close Horse podcast, which is a brilliant podcast. I recommend it to everyone who is into like sustainable fashion and learning. And she put a post up saying sewing is a radical act. And for some reason, I just really like the idea that what sewing is maybe considered a bit of a granny hobby, which I don't love that term. But then seeing that granny hobby as a form of resistance and rebellion, it just made me more... And something clicked to me. No, it was not my dodgy hip, but it made me realize that my sewing hobby, my passion, my business is actually a form of resistance, and that in itself felt really freeing. So my message to you is, if you're feeling helpless right now with the world, then maybe take up sewing because it will unlock the little rebel in you. And here's why. Fashion, clothing, learning to make your own clothing is one of the best ways to feel like a little rebel. Not feeding the awful fast fashion machine is a radical act. So if you didn't know, fashion is the second largest polluter in the world. Not only that, when you start to learn to sew, it becomes quickly apparent that maybe a £20 brand new dress shouldn't actually be £20. Someone down the line has definitely been exploited to get that cost so cheap for you, and that is probably the garment workers. So demanding fair pay for garment workers, choosing to shop elsewhere at sustainable brands, or learning to make clothes for yourself is a form of resistance because you're not feeding into that awful capitalist machine that is fast fashion. So your money doesn't go to the greedy, higher up people that are doing all of the exploiting. And that is rebellious. And in my opinion, I don't think it should be called fast fashion. It should be fast production, because companies like Shein, Temu, Zara, H&M, they don't care about fashion. They don't care about people trying to express themselves through personal style. They don't care about that. They just want to shove as many products to you as quickly as possible. If anything, they're trying to fit you all in the same box, because it's actually more cost effective to just make the same thing over and over again, rather than trying to tailor to different niches or different styles, for example. And they definitely don't have any well thought out collections. In fact, most of the time they steal from small businesses. So they steal their ideas, make it super cheap, and they get away with it most of the time. So again, if you are going to learn to sew and create things for yourself and not feeding into that machine, you are being a rebel. One of the most beautiful things about sewing is that you get to analyze and create things for you. You can choose the fabrics, you can choose the patterns, the colors, the trimmings. It is fully customizable, which is something you will never get in the fast fashion industry. Plus, who doesn't want to feel good in clothes? We're in an age now where clothes aren't tailored to us anymore. They standardize things, which make it really hard to get nice fitting garments. And they try to make you feel bad for it because of your body, and that is so wrong. And then again, with sewing, you can make things for you. I've got patterns that I've bought from other people, and I know that maybe my boob proportion is maybe different to a standard size 16, and I can alter that myself, and I can create really good fitting clothes, and it's such a rebellious thing. And I promise you, when you make a pair of comfy, like elasticated waist trousers in like a linen or a cotton, you will look at those cheap £5 checkerboard polyester trousers on the TikTok shop and just say no. And that, my friends, is rebellious. I'm going to use my phone for this bit because it's got some facts and I don't want to get them wrong. So, mending is such a radical and rebellious act you will not believe. So, the average lifespan of clothing has decreased, with many items being worn only 7 to 10 times before being tossed, a decline of more than 35% in just 15 years. And I tell you why mending is rebellious. Repairing garments can displace the need for buying new items by 82% and extend a garment's lifespan by 75%, reducing environmental impact. And not only that, cost for you. You don't have to go out and buy a new item because you have extended the life of something that you probably loved enough to mend in the first place. You are not giving your money to these brands. You are improving an item, but also you're improving your mind. I mean, I don't know if you've ever mended something before, but it is so fulfilling and quite addictive, I would say. Like just this year alone, I have fixed my sofa, which the springs had gone underneath the little cushion. I've fixed that. I've actually fixed a hefty stain that was on my sofa as well with proper cleaning spray. Recently, I have fixed my rucksack. There was a bit of corrosion and I didn't know that white wine vinegar, which is a staple for the menders out there. I used a bit of that to get rid of the corrosion, so my zips are all working now. I'm constantly fixing my jeans when there's holes in the little crotch area. It is addictive because you not only save money, but it just feels really nice, fixing something. And maybe it's just because of the world that we're in right now, but it feels quite rebellious knowing how to fix things. It's really weird, but beautiful. And that actually leads me into the other point. So it saves money. I know there is a real debate on if sewing really does save money. And yes, maybe the initial cost is a little high because buying machines and tools, which you can buy secondhand, Facebook Marketplace, Vinted, eBay, There are lots of different options. But again, you are not feeding into this capitalist machine, and it feels great. It feels rebellious because purchasing is power. Where you're spending your money is powerful. Also, with the way that the world is going, the price increases, the US tariffs, I feel like we're going to get to a point where we have no other option but to mend our items because everything is so costly. So again, start to sew, start to be a rebel. Using social media as a tool to connect with people, to inspire, to learn from is a form of resistance. A lot of social media platforms do make money through adverts and shoving products in your faces all the time. Hence why they partner with a lot of influencers. They just want your money. So by choosing to avoid that, don't engage with that, don't click on the links, don't be part of that, then again, that is a form of rebellion. You are choosing to ignore them and engage with your community. And the big boys don't like that. And that feels amazing. I mean, I'm yet to watch it, but apparently there's a documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. And I believe it talks about how social media is affecting our mental health. I mean, the rise in depression and anxiety because of social media is at an all-time high. And this, I believe, again, this documentary, I will watch it. I'll probably watch it this weekend. I believe that they have people that they employ whose entire job is to find out how to get people to be stuck on their phones for the longest time possible. And to think, if you choose not to engage with that and decide to hand sew, mend, or sew, picking up hobbies that don't involve a screen, that is a form of rebellion. It's radical. It's amazing. It's freeing. I cannot recommend it enough. And like I said, their whole purpose is to try and get money from you. They're pushing adverts on you all the time. It's really hard to go a couple swipes on your like Instagram or TikTok before someone is trying to sell you something. And it feels amazing when you don't engage with that and you decide to, I don't know, mend a hole instead. And community is everything. There are so many Facebook groups and Instagram groups and local workshops around now more than ever. So get engaged, screw social media. And also, did you know that when you start to sew, your friends and family will take an interest in this and they might ask you to do something for them. And I know it can be quite draining, but even you doing that and talking about it and educating your peers and your community, you are part of the rebellious solution. And again, that feels amazing. And I blooming love engaging with upcycling videos, tutorials on Instagram, because I just think to myself, you little rebel. So I'm hoping this video has maybe inspired you to add sewing as one of your hobbies. I really hope it has, because sewing is such a fun skill to have. I mean, you can create whatever you want. How cool is that? And it is the most perfect time to start sewing, because the amount of access we have to free information on how to start sewing, how to start upcycling is incredible. And I know I've just like bashed social media loads just there, but it is a really good resource to have for learning. And if you are wanting to make your own clothes and start sewing, then Sydney Graham has a YouTube series which I believe is really good. In terms of upcycling, Blueprint DIY, I've been following her for ages. Tracy Myers, there are honestly so many. I mean, there's loads on Instagram as well. So if I can compile a list, I'll put it here. But also, if you know how to sew and you're watching this, then let's share some resources in the comments below, because I think this is, again, such a wonderful community, and I think we should all just resist together. Also, have a look if there's any local workshops or local community groups. And if there isn't, then maybe start one. I know this is slightly off topic, but I am starting to change my business a little bit, because originally my whole goal was to create upcycle clothing for people. But I think after this whole rebellion conversation, I just feel really geared up to be one of the people who teaches about upcycling and teaches about sewing and making it accessible for people. So, but that's a whole another video for another day. You can get books from Vinted, eBay, your local charity shops, library. There's so much access to free information. Let's use social media for its intended purpose, which is community and engagement. I'm part of some Facebook upcycling groups, which I will put here. So maybe that's something you might be interested in. I'm also really keen to do some more research on how textiles has been used as an actual form of protest, because there are countless times where this granny hobby has been used as a form of resistance, and it's beautiful. And there are some really interesting historical things that people, quilters and sewists used to do back in the 1700s that were quite radical, and you wouldn't believe it was radical because sewing is apparently a granny hobby. So to finish this video, I just wanted to sympathize and say that I understand if you are feeling really helpless right now, and I wouldn't want you to just feel anger and do nothing about it. Channel it into something, and I think sewing is such a good form of resistance and being rebellious. So I want you to know that whenever you pick up that sewing needle to maybe mend something, upcycle something, or create something for yourself, friends, community, whatever it is, then just know that you are being a little rebel, and I love it. Thank you so much for watching me yap on. If you would ever be so kind, please do like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help. You have no idea. And I will see you next time, you little rebel. Bye.